Hello everyone. Today I'm finally back here in Gary, Indiana at the abandoned Emerson High School. This high school was built in 1908 and has been abandoned since 2008. No time to waste, let's dive in. Alright, I am now inside, and the first thing I'm going to check out is the auditorium. Now, the first thing I notice is that I see the creepy demon chair down here now. That used to be on the third floor, but obviously it has now been moved to the center stage. So I suppose if it was going to be moved, this is a nice spot for it. I probably will sit on it later though. That's like my little tradition. Every time I've came to this school to explore, I always sit down on the chair. Yes, here's a nice look at the stage, and as you can see on each side of the stage, you have those like nice windows there, which I never really noticed before. But this was a school for visual performing arts, so it makes sense that they had a nice elegant stage for plays. Like I could see that being useful for like Romeo and Juliet, that sort of thing. And here we have a nice look at the seats. Not the largest auditorium, but thankfully it's actually pretty well preserved. Probably the most preserved thing about this school on the inside anyway. I like the green on the sides. Nice coloring. But okay, now on to some classrooms. Okay, now on to the first classroom I'm going to check out. And this is actually a classroom I did not cover in my previous two videos here. And this certainly was a science classroom, which are among my favorite rooms to check out in abandoned schools. See these nice tables that I assume were for, science projects. But yeah, of course, you have this thing in the center of the room. I am unsure what this thing is. None of the schools I attended had one of these, so if anyone knows exactly what that is, please comment down below. Yeah, I'm very surprised I looked past this room in previous videos, but hey, I guess it makes this exploring that much more interesting. Now, something I noticed my first look through of this room was, all these books here. As you can see, these are literature books. But I assume once they close this school down, they probably weren't too worried which books went in which rooms. They probably figured this room had more space, so hey, it's nice, most of those books were still stacked nicely, so that's good. Yes, here we have some goggles. And hey, we even have some Bunsen burners. Everyone should remember these from school. And we do actually have one science book. Kind of makes me wonder where the other ones are, but oof. Okay, now onto the next room. Okay, so now I'm on the top floor for the next room. But yes, before I forget, there was a famous former NFL player and actor who attended this very school. And that was Alex Carras. So I hope I didn't mispronounce his last name. But yeah, he played most of, or perhaps, I think it was maybe all of his NFL career with the Detroit Lions. And then after that, he got into acting. And he starred in films like Blazing Saddles, and also the original Porky's, just to name a couple. But yeah, and of course, most everyone should know, Michael Jackson was from Gary, Indiana. He was born here. Also, another former NFL player and actor, Fred Williamson, was born here. Now, I know Fred Williamson, I believe he attended Frable High School, which has been torn down, so I can't explore that. Also, I believe a few months ago, one of Joe Rogan's guests was from Gary, Indiana, too. Is it Freddie Gibbs, maybe? Yeah, there are some very successful people who I just mentioned. You know, they came out of Gary. So this shelf has a few books. Oh yeah, Russian Revolution. Oh wait, is this? Ooh, I do remember this book from my last explore here in 2019. Oh wow, you got Trotsky. If you've seen Reds with Warren Beatty, you should probably know who that is. Huh. Oh. Ooh, that's cool, that's still here. A little more dusty than before, but at least it's intact. So I do want to get a little bit of a look at this hallway here. I'm assuming, yeah, my assumption is perhaps the shelf here maybe originally displayed trophies. But as you can see, it just stores more classroom books. We do also have some nicely intact lockers as well. Interesting graffiti, and yeah, this graffiti doesn't have other graffiti on it. So that's always good. Wow. Boy, the years have not been kind to this place. Man, it's been so long since I've been here. I mean, sometimes I revisit places and I don't do a video, but I'll just kind of walk through it for old time's sake. Yeah, April of 2019, that's the last time I was here, I forgot. Man. I'm gonna check out some classrooms very soon. I'm just kind of in awe of this place all over again. So you know what? I'll see you in the next room. Okay, now on to the next classroom. And I did actually backtrack a little bit. I think this is actually the next classroom over from where I just was, at the beginning of the last clip. So at first there wasn't really too much interesting in here. I mean, you had the you know, the shelves, a couple books. But in here, which I thought was very interesting anyway, there is a bunch of like classroom photos here, which would have been taken by the teacher or various teachers. Perhaps that's a cooking class or a concession stand. Yeah, some of these are really cool because these are from plays. As you can see, there's the windows that I pointed out in the auditorium. So that's really cool. Yeah, you can see those, the windows again. So that's from another play. Huh. Looks pretty good, actually. I'm not sure what play that is, but... then you have some more. Huh. Yeah, wow, really cool to find these, and this is something else I never stumbled upon before. Alright, on to the next room. Okay, and this next classroom here actually isn't too far from the previous two, so it seems to be a very interesting side of the school. But yes, as you can sadly see, we do have a destroyed piano. I remember one of the first times I pointed out a destroyed piano was my last video here from 3 years ago. Now it's like, man, why destroy the piano, man? Why? Why? But at least over here we have one that's at least partially intact. I suppose another thing worth mentioning before I forget is that this high school was featured on the Vice YouTube channel. They had a video about Gary, Indiana. It was kind of like an hour-long documentary. Kind of covered these, high school seniors. It was their last day of, high school. Or just covering their last week, rather. And one of the crew and some of the kids featured in the documentary, they actually went inside this high school and it was abandoned then. But yes, I'm now back in the hallway. So, on to the next room. Okay, so here, a couple of classrooms, sort of back to back, as you'll see. Yeah, I remember Lou Wallace High School, used to be here in Gary, had a room kind of like this. But yes, through here, I have stumbled upon the piano I mentioned before. Still in the same spot, but in pieces. I guess they were not Elton John fans. Okay, now I'm on the top floor, which is really kind of just like a little attic almost. As it is really just this room here. And yet again, oh yeah. Well, this is kind of interesting. At least you can see inside, and I mean, a lot of the inside, well, a fair amount anyway, is actually, somewhat intact. Yeah, it's really just this room for the very top. Then straight ahead, once again. Well, that is, if it shows up very well, you can see a little better look at the Gary Works out there. But okay, I do still have a little bit to cover, but I am going to be working my way back down now. Okay, so through this doorway right here, we have a nice overhead view of the auditorium. Nice look at the stage. But yeah, one of the more tragic and unfortunate facts about this school, and I did mention this a little bit in my previous video here, is I think it was 2015 or maybe it was 2017, a man actually murdered his cousin inside of this school. Yeah, I know that at least at the time there was a, like a local news clip you could find on YouTube, the news talking about that. Yeah, it's one of the more tragic things that's happened here. And every time I've came here, something very minor but kind of strange happens to me. And, I've sat in that chair down there each time, which I'm going to do again because, I'm crazy, whatever. But, yeah, the first time I had what I thought was like a bug bite on my back. It ended up being like a little minor skin thing. It wasn't a zit, but I won't say what it was. It's kind of gross, but... And then the second time, on my way out, something scratched me, and I actually have a very, very tiny scar on my forearm and upper arm. Very tiny, though, but yeah, it's like, well, first two times I've came here, just something small, kind of strange happens to me, so yeah. And now I'm checking out what will probably be my last classroom I'll check out here before I begin to wrap this up. Obviously, we have plenty of tables, chairs overturned in here. This room does have carpet through most of it. Yeah, this video could potentially be a lot longer, but many of the rooms, there's really nothing at all inside. Other than a little graffiti. So yeah, I do typically try to, just check out the more interesting rooms. But yeah, it is great to be back in Gary. I think last time I was here was April of 2021, so it's been over a year. We have perhaps another small tree growing in the second floor. Interesting. Oh, interesting. They have some little new project going on down there. But all right. I think I will work my way back down to the auditorium, and then that will about wrap this video up. Okay, I'm working my way back down, and just a real quick look at this room where the stage props would be placed. So, pretty cool room, and ooh. Okay, but before I go back to the auditorium, I found the room where the chair used to be. And this was also one of the more noisier rooms on windy days. As you can see all the debris that's hanging from the ceiling. So yeah, you'd always think someone else is here when exploring. So yeah, both the videos before, I recall it being a bit windy, and I kept hearing all this noise, but then it turned out it was just coming from this room. And yes, I think that is where the chair used to sit. I kind of thought it was a pentagram, but just, you know, red lettering, so. Yeah, I almost forgot about this room as I was heading back to the auditorium, so. Yeah, a bit tricky to find, actually. Ugh. Oh, this is fun. Gotta love the rotting floor. I'm getting too big for this shit. Yes, I am. Whew. How the hell does that support me? Oh, good lord. Anyway, now we're in the very dark backstage. And here we are back at the auditorium. All right, so one more look at the auditorium here, then that will about do it for this video. But yeah, Emerson High School is one of the very first locations I explored here in Gary when I first came here in early November of 2018. And originally on that trip, I was just going to check out the City Methodist Church, as well as Horace Mann High School. But I stumbled upon this place as well as a couple others while driving. But yeah, with this being one of the original locations, it'll always have a special place in my heart. Whew. Yeah, it's pretty crazy that I'm back here in Gary finally. Again, it's been over a year. It's kind of sinking in that I'm back here, honestly. But yeah, that will about do it for this video, guys. I'll end off with a few more closing shots, and that'll do it. So thank you guys so much for watching. And guys, if you made it to the end of the video, I appreciate you very much. Please like, leave a comment, share. And if you're new here, please subscribe. I'd love to have you along with me on this journey. Thank you.